Peace. I hope that you're taking good intentional care of yourself. This is a pick a card offering. I'm going to be offering some brief messages and exploring some archetypes. If you're wanting some tailored or one-to-one support, you could check the link in the description box or in my bio for more information. So we have 3 groups. Before you choose a group, I want to invite you to just present yourself for a moment, a mindful pause. Thank you for being. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for getting yourself to this moment. Know that you're not living, being, and moving in isolation, even if there are moments where some of the work and labor that has been required for you to get here has gone unnoticed by the living. But the ancestors rejoice at your becoming. Okay? Consider what's on your heart, what's been stirring in your spirit, what has been coming up for you, what you're anticipating unfolding over the next few weeks. Groups 1, 2, or 3. If you chose group 1, the ancestral proverbs are: a man who uses force is afraid of reason. Suffering is a teacher. The sun never sets without fresh news. 1, have you ever heard the phrase, let me be mindful of my responses before I react? Some of you may be tending impulse control. You may be tending rage and anger. You may be tending memories associated with disrespect, memories associated with pain and suffering, memories associated when those dark moments, right, or those dark times where you felt you were experiencing or you had experienced an injustice, right? There's some kind of vitality that's forthcoming as a result of shadows being metabolized. And tending to secondary emotions does not mean that you're regressing or that you haven't done the work. Sometimes anger and rage can be symptomatic of some of the grief that we've been tending, and grief isn't limited to people. Sometimes we can grieve expectations, professional partnerships and opportunities, life transitions generally, what have you. Respect yourself enough to know that your pain and your suffering is not character, it is not personality, it's not identity, it is a byproduct of humanity and the human experience. All right. For many of you, though, I do feel that the ancestors truly are rejoicing because you refuse to allow someone to dominate your life. You refuse to allow someone to try to posit their authority, their opinion, what they feel matters, right? Some of you are like, I'm not succumbing to someone else's reactionary approaches to a particular thing, whether this is a subject, an idea, a project, or a relationship. Some of y'all have been showing up bravely and boldly. And if you're having to cultivate the courage to do so, know that the ancestors are affirming your self respect, that they are affirming your dignity, that they're affirming your agency and choice in choosing for yourself. For some of you, some warming Plant spirits and even roots or herbs could be helpful in terms of moving through some of the emotional inflammation that you may have been experiencing. But you could also have some solar spirits that have been showing up to offer care and support and helping you if there's been any kind of stagnancy associated with motivation and creativity. So you also have the mentor, the orphan, and the stone as archetypes. This is given the stone that the builder refused is now the cornerstone. You're at a pivotal moment regarding a apprenticeship. This could be a spiritual graduation of sorts. This could be you are considering the foundations for what it is that you want to do concerning your destiny work. You're no longer outsourcing authority in hopes that someone will help you to make it home, because you honor that you are home even in the absence of the parental authority or parental figures that you want, need, and desire, even in the absence of feeling like you didn't have the elders to teach you what you needed to teach, feeling like you didn't have the care that you needed when you was younger. Some of you have gathered your inner children in such a way that you know for a fact now, and I've said this before, that abandonment wounds are healed through ancestral presence. But some of you have done a lot of work to bring your bodies, bring yourself back to your bodies. Some of you have done a lot of work to manifest the teachers and the guides and the stewards. I'm talking like material, right? Like if there's a new skill or trade that you're wanting to learn, if there is some kind of study, some of you might be interested in like herbalism classes. Some of you might be taking up some new spiritual mentorship opportunities, or you yourself are the one that could be providing these things. And it's taken a bit of lamentation and grief in terms of, I didn't have this thing, and so now I have to build it. And grief and joy must coexist. They do coexist. So if you've been looking for a mentor, mentors coming forth. If you've been tending some heaviness or some weight, know that the heaviness and the weight is lifting. If you've been feeling like a motherless child, okay, know that great mother sees you, loves you, and holds you. If you've been feeling like a fatherless child, know that the ancestral fathers are stepping up and stepping through to intervene those wounds and how they have impacted your sense of self. Sometimes you got to be your own daddy. You understand what I'm saying to you? For real. And I've said this a few times to people. So if you hearing this again, okay, just reiteration and a gentle nudge. That's all I got for you, Group 1. I hope that was supported. Feel empowered to share feedback. Okay. Group 2. If you chose Group 2, the Proverbs, the ancestral Proverbs you have are we are what our thinking makes us. If you cut your chains, you free yourself. If you want to rest in the shade in old age, plant a tree now. A flea can trouble a lion more than a lion can trouble a flea. You also have the underworld, the eternal child, and the self. Y'all have metabolized some shadows. You perhaps have been engaging some consistent contemplative practices, mindfulness practices, meditation, visualization. Maybe you're tracking how your thoughts inform your feelings and the feelings inform behaviors. Maybe you've been tracking some of the subconscious scripts and the subconscious narratives that have been bubbling up. Regardless, some of you have chosen to get out of your own way. Some of you recognize that some things really did have to be water off your back. And it's okay if it's not water under the bridge. And I feel a sense as though some of you, some of y'all Hmm. It's the grateful chant, okay? The devil is a liar. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. But what's the devil that's implicated? What was the devil that was implicated? Was it capitalism, homophobia, transphobia, cis heteronormity, white Christian supremacy? What was the devil that was implicated? Was it someone who made you feel that you were not enough or that you were insufficient and you internalized their beliefs? I want you to, okay, what did Kendra say? Fuck anybody that's on my body. Beat your ass and hide the Bible. If God watching. Some of y'all might be on the West Coast to be getting ready to take a trip to the West Coast. Okay. I don't know where that was coming from. I just had to name that. Some of you also might be some of you might be some I'm getting a strong sense of like mediums, conjurers, psychics in this particular group. It feels like your inner children are beaming, your inner children are rejoicing. You've integrated some aspects of yourself. You're trying a new thing. You know how they say, "Oh, God is doing a new thing in you and your life." You honor power to the goddess within, power to the God within, power to the divinities within you. Your spirit is doing a new thing in your life. There may be some information, some plans, some things that are have yet to be finalized, or maybe there's some aspect of your process or your journey that you're still contemplating, you're still meditating on the thing. It's okay to be in that kind of process phase. Don't rush yourself past a place where you need to be reflecting, where you need to be kind of chewing on some things, where you need to be sitting with some things where if you're not ready, you're not ready. But when the ancestors say everybody get your roll on, everybody get your roll on, that's you, your inner children, your inner elders, the creatives that live in you, past, present, future selves, the whole of you is moving forward. Some of you may also have been confronting some generational cycles specific to your ancestors. So some of this is some very, it feels like it could have been some very intense ancestral work. Now, given that the eternal child is here, some of this work could have been work specific to the younger selves of your relatives, and perhaps even like toxic intergenerational patterns that you've witnessed or that you've been seeing. This could also essentially being like, can you imagine the inner children of your ancestors and what it was like for them to move through their lifetimes, and how the wounded inner children of the lineage kind of linger and they also need elevation? Because how is the how if the children aren't honored, how can the body be repaired? If the children are not honored, how can the body be repaired? If the children are not honored, how can we be made whole? If they are not honored, how can we be made whole? That's a bar. Because the underworld also, there's the energy of Sankofa that I'm getting with this too. Yes, sometimes we got to go back and retrieve things, but don't stay underground forever. And Crit did say I ain't tripping on mainstream because love from the underground. Now that's forever. Some of y'all be getting too comfortable with the spooky shit, all right? Some of you might also, I feel like some of y'all might got some, like, you got the alt black girls, or like the gothic inner children, or some of you have some aspects of yourself that could be pessimistic at times, right? I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, if it is what it is, how can there be some decentralized leadership amongst those different parts of yourselves that are competing for attention at times? How can you hold a council meeting with the varying parts of yourself that have been most activated during these times, and allow those varying different parts of you to make the necessary contributions, and the whole of you, the authority that you know yourself to be in the moment, you are the one who gets to say, okay, this is how we're bringing this together, and this is how I'm moving forward now that I considered the feedback from these varying parts of myself. But I also get the sense that after some insecurities, after some soul searching, after some contemplation, somebody is moving forward. Either way, there is some self emancipation, self liberation that has occurred or that will be occurring. Either way, right, you're moving forward. Either way, you're making progress. Either way, there is advancement. Okay, but don't rush your processes. Don't feel like you got to be somewhere that you're not. Be where your feet at. All right. Anything else for this group? Oh, some of you may need to prioritize reconditioning, and like the consistency of, some of you may also be engaging like some scripting in terms of how you're conditioning yourself. Some of us may also need to be engaging some level of physical conditioning, and I'm talking like physical conditioning, movement work as spirit work, as like a form of spiritual discipline. You know what your body needs. You know what you have the capacity to inform. Some of you, that's also the ways that you're able to discharge some of the hot emotions that may have been coming up as a result of, what has been stirring within your consciousness, what's been stirring in your spirit. Some of you also need to take a rest inventory or a self care inventory and consider the areas where you need more rest and what that rest might look like. I hope that was supportive. Feel empowered to share feedback. All right, group 3. The ancestral proverbs that you have are: examine what is said, not him who speaks. No person is born great. Great people become great when others are sleeping. He who wakes up early in the morning receives a bundle of blessings. Opportunity does not wake those that are asleep. Some of you some of you may be sitting on some information. Like, for example, you get some good news, you got an opportunity, but you've been keeping it close to the chest and you haven't really shared that with anybody. And that's fine. Some of you are going to have to trouble the expectancy that you're carrying in your heart about your expectations and what is possible for you and what is going to happen for you. And you're going to have to trouble it because those expired expectations are conflicting with the lived experiences and the realities that you're about to be moving through. You know, I feel some of y'all might have some churchy ancestors, because there's the hallelujah anyhow, whatever that means for whoever needed to hear that, right? You know how to sometimes be like, God's gonna get the glory anyhow. Well, you gonna get the glory anyhow. That one Solange song where Master P says the glory in you. Sometimes people gonna wonder how you successful, how you did the thing, how you got here. Let them wonder, cause you a whole wonder yourself. Let them wonder. Let them wonder. Some of you, there's some sensual and erotic activations. Okay. Some of you will be seeking and experiencing more pleasurable encounters. Some of you have some ancestral supports that were number runners. Some of you have some ancestral supports that are learning more from you about pleasure, more from you about fluidity, more from you about exploration, curiosity, and creativity. For some of you, your shifts in perspective and your willingness to challenge some of the beliefs and values that you inherited is also a point of ancestral elevation and a point of ancestral healing. It's been medicine for the line. You can be cute and critical, but don't be critical too long. For some of you, if there's been implications in terms of financial hardship or areas of financial stagnancy, I feel strongly that that financial stagnancy will be clearing if there's implications in terms of needing support specific to employment and or needing like to secure some level of funding. I want you to be reminded of where your help comes from. Maybe basil is a friend to you. Maybe mint is a friend to you. And maybe water is what you got to work. And so work that water. Maybe there's a tree that you need to befriend and go tell them all about your troubles. Huh? And then check back in with me around that turnaround time in terms of conversation that you had with the land spirits and then how the things that you needed materialize as a result of that. Because the archetypes that came up are the animal, the box, and the bridge. So there's some primal energies here, but I'm also very much thinking about the primordial ancestors and spirits as conduits for you, but also assisting you through a transition. For some of you, there may be some transitional phase where you feel some of you have felt stuck. Some of you have felt limited. Some of you have felt like, why am I still here? Why don't I have the thing that I wanted? Why am I not there by now? Why am I having to rely on them for the thing? And I need us to practice generosity and compassion with ourselves. Because if you need your family, your friends, and your community to help you and to support you, you need that, and that is not a personal failure. That is actually restoration of some of our ancestral agreements. That's actually restoration of some of our ancestral ways of being, right? Like there's a restoration here I'm feeling specifically for this group in terms of corrective communal experiences, corrective relational experiences, corrective professional experiences. You've waited long enough, and if you got to be patient just a little bit longer, okay? Just know your waiting is not in vain. And I'm also wanting you to consider some other shapes, right? The box is not the only place where you get to take form. If the circle remains unbroken, you got to think about the ancestral geometry, ancestral mathematics, ancestral sciences. Listen, I could run with this, but I gotta keep it chill because I wish you could see the colors and patterns and possibilities that are coming through that I'm feeling for you. The bridge even has what looks like a rainbow over the sea, and the sky is dark, it's black behind it. So, are some of you also may be getting into some essence therapies, specifically like animal essences? Some of you also, some of you also have been doing some very intentional work with your water spirits, or you're called to do more work with the water spirits, which explains why I was like, if water is what you got, work that. But you're going to have tangible evidence that the land spirits that you've been working with have been responsive to your points of needs, or that whatever the thing was that you said, if you gave an offering, if you made a prayer, if you asked for something, like in due time, in due time. I feel like in the next 2 weeks, you can come back and be like, Denicia, boom, boom, boom. And I'm be like, exactly. I felt that, sensed that, love that for you. Okay, this is just was a high level overview. Feel empowered to leave a comment, subscribe, share feedback if you want some more intentional support in terms of preparation for the month ahead, or an ancestral care session, or even a personal divination. Link in bio or in my comments. Those will be available for the next week and a half or so. Take good intentional care. Peace.